Hello my besties! Welcome to another reading vlog. For this week's video, I wanted to do a plain and simple read with me for the week. Call it a mood reading vlog, call it a realistic week of reading in my life. It's just you, me, and some books. I haven't really done one of these in a while, and honestly, they're a nice little break from like a structured video, a structured reading vlog where you have like a set theme to follow. I am a mood reader at my core, and my moods do change extremely fast. I also personally like to see how people read realistically. I am someone who goes through phases with reading as well. I'll go through a phase where I feel like I want to read every single second I can get, and then I'll go through phases where all I want to do is sit on my phone. But here's my current reading update. So I just finished a reread of House of Earth and Blood in honor of Crescent City 3 coming out on January 30th. I clearly did some annotating in preparation. It truly felt like I was studying for a test, but a fun test. So yes, I just finished this reread and now I'm trying to decide what to read next. And now you may be thinking the obvious choice is House of Sky and Breath, which are correct. However, I am trying to time all of this so that as soon as I finish this reread, I can immediately start the next book, which does not come out for another week and a half-ish, somewhere around there. So I'm trying to pace myself. I'm just trying to decide what to read in between. I have a little window of a couple of days, a day or two, where I need to read something else before I can like really start this and like get into it. I'm really in the mood for something quick, something not even remotely fantasy related, because I am still trying to keep all of the Crescent City lore in my little rat brain. I'm not trying to confuse myself here. Lucky for me, I do have an entire book cart. I guess I should reposition so you can actually see this. So this is the current state of the book cart. She is very full of some brand new books because I just went book shopping. Thank you to myself. If you want to see that video, that haul, go watch my last video. But here is where I'll be making my selection from. I really want to read Normal People soon. However, I feel like this book deserves its own dedication. It deserves its own moment instead of just being like an in-between breather type of book. I'm thinking one of these ones down here. I also read the Alyssas. Just got this one. So I think I'm in between these three. I think I'm in between Before We Were Innocent, Mother's Instinct, or the Alyssas. I think I'm gonna try and save this for when we're closer to the release of the movie, and even perhaps after I've already seen the movie, so not that one. I think I'm gonna go with this one. So this is Before We Were Innocent by Ella Berman. I came across this as I was just browsing through the store. This is one of Reese Witherspoon's book club picks. I'm gonna go ahead and start this. I think it'll be a quick read, hopefully, and then I'll be back with my first official update. So it's the next day. Yesterday, I ended up reading about 100 or so pages, 99 to be exact. I stopped on chapter 18. And then this morning, I read a little bit more as I was drinking my coffee, and now I am up to page 159. I would say it took me about 40-50 pages for me to like get into this, but now I'm into it. So this is about a friend group of 3 girls. They go on a trip to Greece for the summer after they graduate. And while they're there, one part of the trio dies in this accident. It becomes this big, huge story. Like, the general public thinks that the other two girls had something to do with her death, even though they eventually end up being cleared of any type of involvement. It's now 10 years later, and the two remaining friends, they've kind of become estranged from one another. One of the friends ends up becoming like this famous podcast host slash like self-help motivational speaker, and then the other one basically tries to like drop off the face of the earth. What do you have in your mouth? What is that? This is dual timeline, so both stories are kind of like unfolding as we go. Like, there's this other thing that happens that pretty much brings the other two girls back into each other's lives. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of everything. I say this took me like 40-50 pages to get into because the writing style took a little bit of getting used to, for me at least. I don't even know if I can like explain it. It's just the way the sentences are written, the way the sentences are put together. The sentence structure. That's what I'm looking for. The sentence structure is odd. I don't know. It feels like there is a lot in one sentence. I'm sure it's grammatically correct. I'm not like saying there's anything wrong with the grammar. I think it's just like the style of the author. There are just like a few sentences where I have to read them maybe like once or twice for them to actually sink in my brain. But now that I'm used to it, I don't mind it, and I've really gotten into this. Like, I really do like this so far. I think the author has created such like a tangible and interesting friendship dynamic between these three girls. Obviously, teenage friendships can be very toxic. They can be very complicated. And this is a great example of that if I've ever seen one. Like, the author has just done such a good job of putting all of that into words. The fights that these girls have gotten into, the little jabs that they've thrown at each other, literally feel so real. I feel like it's happening to me. Like, I feel like I am a part of this very complicated friendship. There's also just this very like unsettling undertone to these characters that I feel like the author has done a really, really good job of like sneaking in there. Like I said, once I was able to like kind of get used to the sentences and the structure, I very much like this. So I'm gonna keep reading. Hopefully my goal is to finish it today. I'm a little under halfway through. Yeah, so my goal is to finish this today, maybe, hopefully. And I'm just excited to see where this goes. See my eyeballs? Okay. I just sat in this chair for the past few hours and I binged the rest of this book. I don't necessarily know what I was expecting going into this. I honestly think I was kind of expecting it to be like a very quick, mindless, true crime mystery thriller-ish type of read, because a lot of thrillers are very like fast-paced, quick reads for me. I was wrong. First of all, this was really, really good. I really liked this. Instead of this being focused on, you know, the mystery, what happened all those years ago, what was currently happening in the present, this was so much more focused on like the friendship dynamic between these girls, on coping with the loss of a best friend, girlhood, growing up, etc. Also, as someone who used to be like super into true crime, I'm not so much anymore. I just thought that like seeing how the other two girls were perceived in the aftermath of what happened, this is very much about how every little action or reaction or like a silly joke that one made to the other, how all of those things were like twisted and perceived and made into this narrative by the general public about how guilty these other two were. And I bring up being like a true crime watcher almost, because it is so easy to like look at these cases or watch the YouTube videos that other people make about them and like make the decision that someone was guilty or not guilty and be like, oh, this was his reaction after his wife showed up dead and he didn't react the right way, so he's guilty. You know, stuff like that. That is just what this made me think of, because this is also told from the one friend's like point of view. So she's explaining all of these things from her perception rather than like how the media made it out to be. You know what I'm saying? But overall, I just thought this was really good. I really liked this. I really like to read about girlhood and coming of age and growing up and all of those other things that I mentioned. So if you like those things too, I definitely recommend. My brain is fried. Honestly, whenever I binge the rest of a book like that, I feel like it takes all my brain power and like I need a breather right now. I need to give my brain a break. I almost feel like I have a headache. Like I feel like reading and binging the endings of books like that gives me a headache. Can that happen? So yeah, I'm not really in the mood to start House of Sky and Breath yet. I might later tonight. And if I do, then you'll see that, because we're also going to annotate like I did this one. So this will also be a little annotate with me. But honestly, I feel like I'm in the mood to just rot for a little bit and watch some Vanderpump Rules. So I was going to start out by saying happy Wednesday, except it's Thursday and I simply did not read at all yesterday. I finished this on Tuesday, didn't feel like reading the rest of the day, and apparently didn't feel like reading yesterday, so I didn't. So today's Thursday and we're back in action. One more thing I want to say about this book, as I was just, thinking about it more yesterday, letting it simmer, I have decided that the song for this book is This Is What Makes Us Girls by Miss Lana Del Rey. I just figured I would mention that because sometimes when I see people using songs to describe other books, that makes me want to read the book more, and I can you get the vibe, you know? So yes, I'm gonna need Miss Witherspoon to get on this pronto, make this into a movie, a TV show, and then I need that song, This Is What Makes Us Girls, I need to see it in the show. Anywho, it is officially time to start annotating House of Sky and Breath. I finished House of Earth and Blood a few days ago before I started filming this video. Like I said, I did a whole annotated reread. I think this took me like a week-ish to get through, 5 or 6 days. Obviously, it takes longer to get through a book when you are annotating it. And I'm also not a very fast annotator, I guess, because I really don't annotate that often. If anything, I will just underline and tab quotes that I like when I read. Sometimes I'll write down like songs or song lyrics that I connect with the book, or just like other references. Maybe if the book mentions like Greek mythology, I'll go and like look it up. That is annotating. However, all of these series, these are different to me because these are my Marvel Cinematic Universe, my Roman Empire. This is my Super Bowl. So with these, and then I did it with ACOTAR, I am actually annotating for like specific things. For example, with this one, this was my little key. I did character descriptions, world building, power descriptions, mentions of the multiverse, and then just like other. When it comes to these books and series, those are probably like the most important things, because across all series, we know by now that they're all connected and just everything means something. Also, another thing I do, again, when it comes to like Sarah J. Maas specifically, there are people who like study these like they are the Bible, and I watch their content. They mention things, they point things out. I'll keep them in my head and then use those theories and what those people have already discovered as like kind of my base. I watch A Happy Hermit, and her name's Rosie. I don't remember what her TikTok account is. They are the SJM universe experts. They will point out everything. So if you want to annotate these books, but like you don't know where to start and you don't think you'll like catch on to everything, watch their content. They'll point it all out for you. So to start annotating a book, I have my little crate that holds all my supplies. These are the tabs that I use. I get these off of Amazon. They have 70 million different colors because yes, I am a person who likes to match the tabs to the book. So I need to pick one that matches this. There's these blues, there's this one, these. I think I'm gonna use this one. This little pouch holds all of like my pens, other post-it notes, these like marker highlighters. I don't really use these very often, but these are the pens that I use. I only use these pens. I'm very specific about my pens. They're the Pilot G207. I like the 05 too because the 05 is a little bit more precise. I will also use Post-it notes if I want to write down like longer thoughts or just like mark things and make them stand out from the tabs. I like there to be dimension. I like, you know, I like how this looks where there's like these tabs, this. I love the way it looks. Yes, annotating, part of it is the aesthetic. So these are all the supplies that I'm going to use. The first thing I'm going to do is go in and make my little key. So I'll write down what I'm annotating for and then just pair it with the tabs so I know which is which. Hour maybe-ish since I started reading and I'm 50 pages in. If that gives you any indication of how fast or slow, however long it takes me to get through a book as I'm annotating it, this is what we've got so far. It's this little chunk of pages. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, another crucial piece of my annotation process is, well, this is toilet paper, a napkin, paper towel, cloth of some sort. Because one, I am left-handed, so every single time I write with pen, I smear it and I get it all over myself. Two, I use this straight edge to underline quotes. That's how I get my lines so straight. I've gotten comments on that before on TikTok, like, how are your lines so straight? I trace them. But pen gets all over this edge and then also like smears all over the page and like gets all over my hands. And it just gets really messy and I don't like it. So every now and then, take a cloth and I clean it up so I don't have ink literally everywhere. So yeah, that's where we're at for right now. This is probably what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the evening and into the night. I might pick out something else to read when I don't feel like using my brain. Because, you know, annotating a book, it is work. It's fun work. I enjoy doing it, but it is still work. It takes more effort than just like reading a book normally. But I don't know yet. This is what we're doing now. As you can tell, it's starting to get dark out. If you guys have any recommendations for like lighting when I can't use natural light anymore, let me know, because I need something like that. Does this really even make that much of a difference? Hold on. Is there a difference other than the glare in my glasses? After I was complaining about the lighting yesterday, I went on Amazon and ordered one of those little like selfie lights that you can like clip onto things. Don't think it makes that much of a difference. Anyways, today is Friday. I think I'm gonna extend this little vlog into Saturday, assuming I read tomorrow, because I was originally gonna do this Monday through Friday, but then I didn't end up reading Wednesday, so that's the plan. I only read a little bit more of this before I went to bed last night. It wasn't much, let me tell you. I read up to page 87, and that is because I decided to dye my hair instead. I don't know if you can tell the difference. You probably can't, but this is the biggest difference in the world to me. If you're unaware, I do dye my hair black. This is not my natural hair color. Honest. This is actually only my second time reading that, and I say that because I have read this probably 3 or 4 different times. And there were still new things that I discovered on this reread. So with this, it'll be like reading it for the first time again, because let me be so honest, I really don't remember anything about this book. But that's all I'm really gonna say on this, because I'm really trying to avoid giving any sort of spoiler. But like I was saying yesterday, I think I want to pick out another book to read just when I like really don't feel like putting in the effort to read or annotate this. Again, I want to pick something completely different from anything fantasy related. So I think I'm going to start this. This is The First Day of Spring by Nancy Tucker. This was also a part of my recent book haul. And in that video, I said that I have had this on my TBR for literally forever. This is a thriller. This is about Chrissy, who, when she's 8 years old, she offs a little boy. But now, it's 20 years later, adult Chrissy, she's living in hiding, she has her own daughter. And I guess that turns out to be complicated. I also I read the back, that the author, Nancy Tucker, studied psychology at Oxford and works in the mental health field. So I feel like that'll be a very interesting perspective to have written this book from. Today's a rainy day, hence, I just flipped the camera off. Oh, and I did it again. I'm sorry. Today's a rainy day, that's what I was trying to say. Hence the little light situation I've got going on. Again, don't know if this was worth it or not. I might use it tonight when it's actually dark out, and then we'll see. But that might be scary. That kind of direct lighting in the might be scary. I'm just gonna read. It's a rainy day. Rainy days are for reading. So. Let's see if this does anything. Oh, that was a jump scare. Anyways, we are locked and loaded for bedtime. I have not read any more of House of Sky and Breath. I've carried it around with me, haven't picked it up. I've only really read this today. I've made it about 50-ish pages in, 48 pages in. I feel like I've only really wanted to read in like very short spurts lately. I haven't really wanted to sit down and read for long periods of time. I do like it so far. I feel like I'm not far enough into it to make any concrete judgments yet. It is dual timeline. Like I mentioned before, we're going between Chrissy as an 8-year-old and then Chrissy as an adult. But it's very easy to tell that Chrissy is a very troubled child. And for some reason, the things in this book are making me laugh, and they shouldn't be. It's just that the main character's voice, the point of view, is just so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Matter of fact, all of those intrusive thoughts that we as human beings like keep inside, she just lets them out. She's thinking them. On this page, she's like touching a baby and rubbing the baby's head, and she finds that little soft spot, you know, the soft spot that babies have. And she's like, I was seeing how far down I could press when his mom pulled me back. I've had that thought. Have I ever acted on it? No. But I've had that thought. And then she's talking about one of her classmates. She says, I was sitting next to Donna, who I didn't like because she was a goody-goody. And she was also fat. I shouldn't be laughing at that, but I kind of am. This is only like my surface take on this. I've barely gotten into all of this. I know it is more than an 8-year-old being fatphobic. Day. It's Saturday. Last night I read up to page 132 of The Last Day of Spring. I know I said that this was making me laugh last night, and it was. But this is actually so very sad if you like think about these things happening to a child or a child experiencing this type of neglect. The writing's really good. I'm really liking that so far. The main character, when we're in her point of view as a child, because like I said, we're getting her point of view as an 8-year-old, and we're also getting her point of view 20 years later as an adult with her own child. But when we're in her point of view of her as a child, she very much reminds me of Junie B. Jones. Junie B. Jones if she had severely neglectful parents. So yeah, that's what I've read so far of this. I will be finishing it, but I have spent most of the morning reading House of Sky and Breath. I made it up to page 203 of this. And like I said, I honestly feel like I'm reading this for the first time again. I have forgotten so much of this book. I will say on this reread, I am just loving Bryson Hunt so much more than I ever did before. Like, okay. Like, to be so honest, I never truly cared for them together. Like, I like both of their characters. I just never really like loved them so much as a couple, but I just really love them together this time. And I love Hunt and every other dark-haired male main character that Sarah J. Maas writes. But I actually think I'm going to end this vlog here just because I think I'm going to spend the rest of my day reading this. And I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want to give any spoilers away. So this is the conclusion. I know this video was kind of all over the place, but that was the point. I would say that this was a very, very realistic week of reading for me. I technically only finished one book before we were innocent. A+, loved it. And then I started 2 others. I don't even know how many pages I read total. So this was 365. I read 132 pages of this and then 203 pages of this. So that is a total of 700. I read exactly 700 pages. That has to mean something. I really hope you guys enjoyed this little glimpse of realistic reading. I do not always start and finish 3 books in a week, but I really hope you guys enjoyed. If any of y'all are currently doing a reread of Crescent City so then we can freak out a Flame and Shadow together, let me know. I hope you decide to stick around, and I'll see you in the next one.